Remember how last episode I talked about for loops? Here's how you build them. Here we go. Let's set the block data here immediately to auto 0b. Why am I doing this? Well, so when I activate it, it goes straight to needs redstone immediately, but it will still execute a bunch of stuff here as well. So I'm just going to write a say command here. We'll just say command 1 like that. So when I set this to always active, it says command 1 and it's gone back to needs redstone. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say let's go scoreboard players set at p loop. I think that's the name of the score. Yep. To I don't know, 10. I think that's fair. Now we won't have that yet. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to have another block data command. Now this is actually going to work for the positive x direction, and we're going to set this to auto 1b, and we're going to have a repeating command block, which is basically going to be scoreboard players remove at p loop 1. So let's just set our display of loop to the side. It's at 26 at the moment, but as soon as I activate this, alright, so we have this problem now where it's just doing that. So I have to go score loop min equals 1 like that. So when I actually activate this again, bam, and it stops there. The next thing that we're going to do, because now this is always active still, we don't want this to be always active, so I'm just going to say test for block, the previous block. If it's a repeating command block, if its success count is 0, then this will be true. Actually, this doesn't have to be conditional. This has to be, and we'll say block data auto 0b. So this is back to needs redstone now. So if I press this button, okay. So let's show what happens here. So let's say we'll go say loop. So this command is going to say command 1, and then we're going to have a loop that runs 10 times like that. And if I want to extend this loop, then we can say this for 20, and you can see that there's a lot more to it. So I'm creating a database full of all these awesome attacks and stuff. One thing that I wanted to show you one of these uses are, okay, so none of these are running. None. This thing is doing nothing until I actually, trigger it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to summon a leash knot here, and I'm going to call it leash chop. Like that. So there should be something summoned there. If I run this, oh yeah, and that loop is finished now. So we're finished and done. For loops are amazing things in programming. You can't use while loops for everything. I mean you can, but it's just not efficient. Let's show another example of the for loop. Let's go can snow. This is what the Blight is going to do, by the way. That's pretty awesome, I think. A few episodes ago I made some spirit gems which circle around the player, kind of like what you can see in this video. And I decided this looks very, very messy. If you have 4 spirits on you at any given time and you're walking around like that, I know it looks cool, but it also looks extremely messy, and we want our designs to be elegant. So I went searching for a circle generator and couldn't find any. So I'm going to have to create my own circles using a bit of my own research from maths. So we're going to need a circle going around the player. Thankfully I have this tool here so I can draw one to represent what's going on. The dot that I'm drawing here will represent the center, otherwise known as the player, and what I want is some absolute coordinates going around the player. I'm going to be using a radius of 5, so to represent that, this circle here also has a radius of 5 centimeters. The points that I'm plotting on the circle now will represent where I'm going to summon the armor stand or particle effect. So as you can see, I'm making sure that they all correspond to a very specific X coordinate, and then I will calculate the Y coordinate later. You can see now that I'm counting the amount of points just to make sure that I'm going to summon 20 armor stands. So that's how many armor stands we're actually going to summon. I already know the x coordinates of all the points here. Unfortunately though, I do not have the y coordinates. Thankfully though, we can actually treat this circle that I've drawn as a graph, and graphs always have equations, so I'm going to be drawing a function here which is used to calculate the circle. In order to find the absolute y coordinate of each point, I have taken an equation for circles, which is x subtract your center x coordinate, in this case it's going to be 0 because the player is at the center of the circle, and then you square that, and then you're going to add the same thing for the y, so your y coordinate, which I actually don't know, and that's what we're trying to find, and then we subtract the center coordinate of the y, in this case it's going to be 0 because that's the player's point, and then we make that equal to the radius squared, in this case it's going to be 5. In the background now, you can see me using the x coordinate to solve for y now, for every single armor stand. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to import it into the command blocks. So now I will show you what the fire ring looks like now. As you can see, when I put it in my offhand, you can actually see some crypt particles around me, and they form a very nice circle, which I spent a while calculating the coordinates of, since I don't know, I couldn't find a generator for it on Google, which is a bit strange. I thought I was going to find something like that, but no, I was fine doing it manually, and it made for a fun little clip. So as you can see now, it's very clear where the fire is. So I know that this doesn't look as cool as what I had before with the spirals going around, but it's far less messy, and it's much clearer to the player what is going on, and clarity is more important than just something looking epic, in my opinion anyway. I know it doesn't look like much, but this is 5 days of effort. And not just 15 minutes every now and then, this is hours upon hours of work trying to get this system together so you guys can play the Tempest's box. So I would appreciate it if those people who are like, oh, can you just release the Tempest's box right now? No, it's impossible. Even if I wanted to, I can't. And there's so much to do anyway. Even if I wanted to release this half-done, buggy, featureless thing, it just wouldn't, nothing would work, so, yeah. I've decided to add the assassin to the desert. This is temporary because the desert, well, it has heaps of mobs already. This will be the 6th mob. I'm going to move it in the mesa in the future. Anyway, let's fight it because it's slightly changed. It's not drastic, it's just a little bit different. So, first off, the look is a lot brighter, more vibrant, and it's just whiter in general. Then you'll see this next attack, which is going to do shortly. Oh, there we go. Where it kind of just strafes around you. And then very shortly we're going to see the other attack that it can do, which it does every now and then. Oh, it just did the teleport. Oh, there we go. It swapped its weapons just then, and it has a little particle effect now to actually indicate that it's doing that. These are now the only 2 attacks it has, and I think it works quite well as a mob that's as rare as Enderman in the desert anyway. Loot, still got to do that for all the mobs. The Ender Menace is ready to go, and it's actually fun to fight. It's not annoying, it's still difficult, but it's not brutal and punishing like it used to be. So let's just take a look at it. Are we going to see some action? No, I have to press this button. So, this is the Ender Menace, and instead of giving all the mobs just random effects, I should probably turn down my sounds, instead of giving off just random effects to the mobs, it's always going to be speed, always going to be resistant, and this applies to spiders, skeletons, zombies, and creepers, because those are the only 4 mobs that it's going to have any actual content with, given the nature of the biomes it exists within. And it also has a cooler particle effect, and yes, it does put out torches. In fact, I'm going to give myself some torches so you can see this in action. So if I just place some torches around you, you'll see what it does in a sec. So it doesn't work for jack-o'-lanterns, by the way. So if you want to light up your area without having to worry about ender menaces, use any light source except torches, and I think that's pretty fair. I mean, you can use glowstone, you can use jack-o'-lanterns, it's not like it's that much of a challenge. It's just to encourage players to use different kinds of light. and of course if you light up your area perfectly in the first place, then it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And on top of that, the Ender Menace is biome exclusive, so you don't have to worry about being too unfair as well. I think it's a pretty fair system. So anyway, let's fight this thing, and we'll take a look. So it's actually got some knockback resistance now. It's quite challenging to fight. Alright. It's got 120 health, I believe. Most of TPC's code is still the same. I've just tweaked it quite a bit. There we go. So it is killable, and I'm going to make it drop, I think it was 2 to 6 ender pearls or something ridiculous like that, just to make it worth destroying, because if you're not in a combat scenario, then there's really no reason to mess with them given how difficult they actually are. Now, I didn't actually show off its teleport ability, but that hasn't changed much. Now, the most drastic change is probably the Wisp. Mainly because the Wisp was just too much of a nuisance in the original version of the Tempest's box. And yeah, there's a lot of things I want to change about it. Firstly, it only spawns on the surface of swamps now. But yeah, let's just take a look. You still kill it with the Mage's Wand, and yes, it's got an entirely new look now. I think it suits the swamp theme a lot better, and its attack is Fireworks, and I believe it still poisons the player. If not, I need to make it do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my levitation gem, to get to it. There we go, so we got it once. There we go, got it again. Oh. So now, levitation is actually a pretty crucial part about the Tempest's box, because you need it to, obviously, take on creatures like the Wisp. It's gone up very high now, hasn't it? That's alright, we can still deal with it. Come here. No, missed. And it will still drop Darc relics, so don't you guys worry about that. There we go, we got it again. Yeah, I think I increased the range as well for this. Oh, it's not quite done. We will drop down just a bit. And we can get you. Come on, I think we're close enough. Yeah, I think I definitely increased the range. I just forgot to actually put it in the final copy here. So I know this looks, I know it looks difficult, but it's a lot more difficult than, it's a lot less difficult than it looks. So yeah, I'm not doing a good job of demonstrating what this thing is actually doing. Come to think of it, actually, I might create a command that stops it from going above y equals 75, which is about 10 blocks above the ground, and I think that is fair. The Moa's Ron has been renamed to Ent, and I have revamped its attacks. It's pretty awesome. You'll get to see this in a sec. You should be invisible, but there we go. It's supposed to be poisoning me, but yeah, this is why we test anyway. So that's what it does. It does that every 10 seconds. It would just release these things that just do a great deal of poison damage to me. The only problem is that once you actually kill it, these leaves will just continue hanging around, but no worries, I'll fix that. This reason right here, this is why I haven't released the next update yet. It's just because of things like this. I know you can do it. Yeah. Yeah. Don't you guys think this is more fair? Personally, I think that's a much more fair attack. Originally, it just targeted you straight away and hit you with lightning, but now their lightning kind of rod things. I think that's more fair. Do you guys think that's more fair? Can you guys count how many times I've said fair? Interrupter sheep. I wanted to show you guys my latest spirit gem. Let's just give myself a piece of stone, because I haven't actually made the texture for it yet. Boo. Anyway, we give it the can light tag, and I put it in my offhand, and you guys will see the magic that happens. As I walk around, it automatically places a torch below me, and it also places a jack-o'-lantern as well. But it will only replace stone, the jack-o'-lantern, and the torch will only replace air. So you're probably thinking, why the jack-o'-lantern? Well, two reasons. If I actually have a block breaking gem, then that's going to be a problem for my you'll see in a sec. You'll see the block breaking effect take place, and as you can see, it's uprooting my torches, but because it's replacing jack-o'-lanterns, this is an optimal tool for mining, so the spirit gems can work with each other. And as you can see, the particle effect looks a lot nicer than the sphere that I had before. It represents much better what is actually happening here. So it's lighting everything up, and as I move around, it can break the blocks, and yeah, I think it's just a lot better. And no, this won't be replacing the extraction staff, because the extraction staff is a lot faster, and it will cost less, so yeah, don't get your hopes up too much, guys. Oh yeah, and the other reason is that Ender Menaces can get rid of these, so it's always good to have some jack-o'-lanterns as well. And to those thinking, oh, infinite torches and infinite jack-o'-lanterns, no, this has a cost. Sorry, guys. For those of you who are unfamiliar, this is what they call a loot table. As you can see, I have started working on the loot table for the Spirit Infuser, so this is going to be the healing category. So as you can see, we have our fire canister here, and I'm going to have a little lore here which is going to specify the type and also tell the player how much it will cost. I'm actually going to be doing this for everything now, including the machines and the staffs, just to give the player more information about what they're going to be doing, but this might not stick, and just in case it complicates things a little too much. So yeah, this is a battle that I'm having with myself at the moment, but yeah, as you can see, it changes your health and it changes your speed, and I might even have a version which just nullifies all effects altogether. So yeah, that's my progress on this. What you just witnessed was actually a 10-minute clip of me programming the Blight weakness using my function system. And now, I would like to make an announcement. Now, it's your turn.
What?
A while ago, I reached out to you all asking, how can someone assemble a team of command block engineers? How is it possible? And I realized, not only are you guys talented, you are also talented.
Hurry up!
Alright, fine. So let's say you wanted to make a spirit gem, which summons a gold nugget around the player in a random position. So as they walk around, they have a small chance of gaining gold while the spirit is active. So, first of all, we're going to summon an armor stand here, with a Can Midas tag. Okay, now this is going to pretend to be the player. If it can execute from the armor stand, then it will be able to execute from the player. So when we actually run our loop, so we've got our block data command, and then we've got our summon command for the item, and then we spread the item. So when we actually run this, we should see that a gold nugget has appeared somewhere. So here it is. And yes, after 10 seconds or 200 ticks, it disappeared. But what if you want to do a little bit more than that? What if we want to give this a little bit of a particle effect so it's more clear where we want to go? Well, that's where the next block data command, as shown as the beginning of the video, will do. So we have a block data going to auto 1b, and then finally, we are going to need a repeating command block right here, which is set to needs redstone, and then we are going to go test for @e tag equals en Midas. That's the name of the item, okay? And as long as that is true, so we need to go test for block, the previous block right there, repeating command block with a success count of 0. And then our next one will just reset the block data. So as long as that nugget exists in the world, then this repeating command block should be on. Okay, so while this repeating command block is on, then we can simply run our execute @e tag equals en Midas, and then we're just going to run a very, very simple particle effect. In this case, we're just going to do flame, and we're just going to do a little something like that. Okay, so when we actually run our machine again, you can see that the gold nugget is over there. It's a little bit too obvious in my opinion, but you can see that this is always active, and as soon as the item despawns, you can see that this is back to needs redstone. If you can't follow this format, then I just simply won't accept your module, but I'm pretty sure you guys are pretty talented, you'll be able to do this. So where do you submit? Go to the link into the description, it's the Discord, and I want you to submit in this format. But please bear in mind, I cannot guarantee your submission will enter the Tempest's box. This is just a trial to see if I can actually get you guys involved more with the Tempest's box. So, when you actually submit your module, it should look a little like what I have on the screen, with the I representing the impulse command, the R representing the repeating command, and the cond representing the conditional chain. Everything else is just going to be assumed to be a normal chain. Now, the 3 dashes at the top and bottom, that's just for Discord's formatting when you go to submit it there. Link in the description. One last thing, don't worry about programming triggers, such as holding the gem or seeing how far the player has walked or how much damage I've done. None of that. We're just assuming that the player or the armor stand is able to actually perform the task, if that makes sense. Don't panic if you're still confused. Next TTB episode is going to be a long one. It's going to be a full-blown explanation on how everything works. It will probably go for about 40 minutes, maybe 30 minutes if I can cut it down. So if you're still confused, just wait for that video to come out. Let's end this episode with a bang. It's time to fight the Blight, which has been nerfed. It has 750 health now instead of 2000. Just so you can have more of a chance at fighting it. But yes, oh, hey, TNT is still pretty effective against it. Oh, and it's doing one of its attacks now. There we go. So, let's blow you up. Hey, when are you going to be doing your mega attack? Oh, man, that guy's got some knockback to him. I think the slowness is probably a bit too annoying. Oh, gotta watch out for those ice crystals. Okay, this guy's got some moves, doesn't he? Jeez. Alright, more TNT. Oh, yeah. I gotcha. And I got the Blight staff. Okay, maybe 750 health is probably not enough. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Thanks to my patrons, Mr. DemonN, Data Crusader, Peter, Jude, PaperBoat, Zach, Command Blocker, Patrick, Crazy Pets 321, Spectrum's Ascent, TheDustyBunny, Corp, and mblohr. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.